For Cardiff City, they are now the lowest ranked of the three big Welsh clubs. Of course, we're not counting Newport in that, but in terms of Wrexham, Cardiff and Swansea City, Cardiff now sat in League One with Wrexham and Swansea both in the Championship. So it's not a good period at the moment for the Bluebirds, but they did start their League One season with a win, so positive vibes a little bit now at the Cardiff City Stadium. Obviously, this is a season of perhaps transition for them after what was a very disappointing relegation from the Championship last season. Barry Murphy certainly has a big task on his hands to try and get Cardiff back up to the Championship once again, but they've been busy in the transfer market. Of course, I think they had to be. Bridges had to once again be built between the club and its supporters after a lot of them were probably burned and completely destroyed after what was, as mentioned, a really disappointing year last season that saw Cardiff relegated from the Championship. But this season, they just have to win games and show the supporters that this is a functional club once again. They can't be anywhere near the sort of damaged club that they were last season. To find out exactly where they're at, let's go to Charles Hague-Jones. So Charles, after their opening day win for Cardiff City, where they're at going into the season and the rest of the season, can they be successful under Barry Murphy, or is it going to be too much of a transition for them this year to see them promoted, and will this season be a one of consolidation and making sure that the club is on a level footing, or will they actually be good enough to go up once again? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, for Cardiff City, obviously, for a bit of context, they've obviously got Barry Murphy, who was mentioned on a 3-year deal. He's energetic, he's ambitious. We saw in game week 1, he's put a lot of trust already into the youth at Cardiff City. The average age against Posh in their opening League One game, their victory at home, was 22 years of age on average. That's incredible. Let's be honest, this is a side who are far too good for League One, in my opinion. Can they sustain it? Can they remain competitive, though? That's the question. And, finished bottom last season with 44 points was, terrible, involving 3 managerial changes as well. They're hoping now Barry Murphy is the man to take them forward. His early record before he joined, a handful of wins and draws, but limited transfer activity is likely as well. They're, cautious optimism that he can implement a good style for Cardiff City. I think that's the main point that he has to get across. He has to implement a style that Cardiff City are going to be interested in playing. These players are going to believe in a project and drop down from certain divisions to go and ensure that they are involved with the club. I think, from Cardiff's fan perspective, they're interested in seeing a bit of a fresh sort of start, a new beginning. And it looks like Barry Murphy is that man going forward. He obviously said in multiple of his interviews how Vincent Tan has a massive part to play. And he's very sure, look, you're coming in, you've got a big job to do. You've got to sort of revitalise the entire club. And we want to go right back up to the Championship at the first time of asking. That is clearly the ambition. It's an exciting group. What it lacks maybe at the moment is that style. How long that's going to take for Barry Murphy is going to be interesting. Obviously, you've got big clubs down there competing also for promotion back up to the Championship. This is the goal. This is where they want to be. Can they sustain it over a long season when we get to December and the tougher months of the season where it's very cold and a lot changes, the climate and the sort of race for the top. You always have some late emergers as well come for that late playoff charge. So I think, as I can see them as it stands, obviously little investment in the summer as well, but they have managed to keep a few key assets. That's a big talking point for Cardiff City. I think they'll get top 6. Can they get over the line in the playoffs? That's the biggest question to answer. But Barry Murphy has made a good start, and this is where Cardiff City are now. They need to embrace it, believe in the project, and hopefully make a quick return to the Championship.